Howdy, Blue Shepard. I'm cracking some nuts for a Father's Day project with the church. Got a lot done and a lot to go. I thought I'd make a video. If you subscribe to my weekly emails, then some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is old news to you. But I know there's a lot of people that don't subscribe, a lot of people that don't do emails or don't read. So let's talk about some of the things we've been going over in this most recent series. Almonds are so easy to break. First off, go check out Dangerous But Good. They've got their spring collection up. I have some of that on the way. It hasn't came in the mail yet. I'm wearing an old shirt here, the Appeal to Heaven Pine Tree flag shirt. See, Pine Tree, AR15, Crescent Moon, scary. So, yeah, I've had a lot of negative comments about this shirt in particular for some reason. Everyone thinks it's something to do with ISIS because of the Crescent Moon. But yeah, go check them out. They have some patches. I don't know if all the spring patches are sold out by now. They probably are. Their spring clothes, get those before they're sold out. Or go check out their sales. They have some old fall and winter collection stuff on sale. So go check that out. I have one of their patches right here. Not a current edition one, not a spring one. The orange shall not be infringed patch, and that's from wearedangerousbutgood.com. If you use promo code BlueShepard10, get you 10% off. So what's up, guys? I've been busy. I don't know about y'all. I know a bunch of people, more and more people keep contacting me wanting to know, where'd you go? I can't find you on Instagram. I've got a lot going on. I got rid of my Instagram partly because I was done with it and partly because I wanted to focus on other things. Gardening, writing, working with the church, street missions, different stuff. I just recently finished this. AR15 Bill. You won't believe how much money I've got in this, how little money I've got in this, I should say, but I'll save that for a separate video. I got to get an optic. I just put that on there for giggles. That's my airsoft reflex, and a LaRue mount with a primary arm 6x magnifier. Probably going to get an aim point or a vortex red dot and put there coupled with that. But got some LWRC flip up. Anyway, I'll save that for the rifle video, which is coming soon, hopefully. But anyway, we have been discussing in our emails activism, specifically relating to Christian men in America. So first off, if you're not a Christian, you're not a man, and you don't live in America, what we're discussing probably does not apply to you. And if you're not a Christian, then it totally does not apply to you. Unless you're interested in becoming a Christian, no, it doesn't apply to you at all. So, went over our topics. We started off with activism starts at home. That as husbands and as fathers, it is our responsibility to create an atmosphere of activism within our homes. And that not only does activism start at home, but activism is something that God has called us to, not only in our own lives, but through procreation, through the production of offspring. So by producing children, we're fulfilling God's call that He has given us to activism. This is biblical. All the commandments of God to be fruitful and multiply. It is not God's will for a man and woman. And that, don't get me wrong. I know there are certain cases, there's different cases. Not everyone is even specifically called to marriage. But God's will for most men and women, and God's will for marriage in general, except special circumstances provided, is the production of offspring. And God's will for the production of offspring is that they be raised to be Christian activists. I almost like to think of it kind of as we are birthing children, creating offspring to raise them up and radicalize them for the gospel, for the will of God and the kingdom of heaven. That word radicalize gets misused a lot in our modern society. We talked about that, to radicalize someone, to be radical, amen. It means to be totally given over to a specific idea. In other words, there are plenty of Muslims. But what is a radical Muslim? Well, a radical Muslim is one that thinks society must totally conform to the Muslim way or to Sharia law. What is a radical Christian? Lots of Christians. Not very many radical Christians. Not that I know anyway. A radical Christian is someone who, on the Word of God and biblically, and rightfully so, demands that society let go of its own structure and its own norms and conform to the will of God and conform to the Word of God. That is something that is lost in America. We seem to have gotten mixed up, and we think that apologetics means apologizing. No. When someone thinks you're a bigot because you tell them that homosexuality is unscriptural and it is sinful, just remember, they're an outsider. They're not a part of the program. When someone tells you that you are archaic and chauvinist because you believe in God's ordained structure of the family, they're an outsider. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them an apology. You can give them an explanation if you want to, but if all their intention is malicious, then you're just casting pearls before swine. You don't owe them anything unless they sincerely want to learn and understand. I think that's something that is so hard to drive into people's minds, but it's something that we have to remember if we're going to be involved in activities in the world. If we're going to be activists, we've got to remember that there is going to be a lot of people that challenge us, that come up and say things, and you just have to brush it off. Just let it roll off, because you have to discern whether they're there to get answers or whether they're just trying to start a fight and cause problems and confusion. Most of the time, that's what it is. Most atheists I dealt with and most challengers of Christianity I dealt with when I was in college, they didn't ask questions. Hey, what is it? They didn't ask questions because they wanted answers. They asked questions because they wanted to start struggles. They wanted to stir up strife and confusion. Remember that. Most opponents of the gospel are not sincerely wanting answers. If they wanted answers, they wouldn't be coming at you in opposition. And when you indulge them, you're engaging the enemy in his own maze. You're engaging them on a battlefield that they have chosen and they have set up, and where their friends are and their reinforcements are going to come to their rescue. Just remember that. What is activism? What does it mean to be a Christian activist? Well, simply as we put in our emails, activism is doing. Doing. You know, there's such a lack of blue collar in the church today. Most of the men that even do go to church, there's not many men that go to church comparatively. Most of the men that do go to church might work blue collar jobs, but they are not blue collar parishioners. They're not church workers. Some of the ones that go might lead a youth program or do something like that, but when it comes down to it, they're not willing to roll their sleeves up and get in the trenches. They're not willing to get dirty and nitty gritty. They just want to show up and do their thing and move along, or want to fulfill their obligation to their wives because they told her they would come to church. The church needs workers. The church needs doers. The church needs men who are fearless. The church needs men who are brazen. The church needs men who are not afraid to speak their minds, who are not afraid to cause a scene, and who are not afraid to stir up the environment. And when I say stir up the environment, I mean men who are not going to back down from a challenge or back down from an opportunity just because of who's around, or just because they don't want to cause problems or look bad socially. Remember, it doesn't matter how you look to the enemy. Their opinion of you is not important because they're outsiders. What matters is how you look to God and how you look to godly men. That's all that matters. That's all there is to it. So be an activist. Get out and do something. Go clean something up. We're about to take a deeper turn here shortly in our emails, the next few emails. Probably going to start pouring out some people's cokes. Trying to think of a better expression. Probably might upset some people. It's a topic that seems to be shied away from by much of the church in America. It's not socially acceptable to talk about, and it's not socially acceptable to do. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but just to give a little bit of a prelude, it has to do with contingency preparations for conflict. That's all I'm going to say. Go check out We Are Dangerous But Good. Check out Ever Vigilant. Go search on YouTube, Vigilant Wolf or Ever Vigilant Podcast. Check out his podcasts. Check out his products. I'm the Blue Shepherd. Out.